On today's episode, we are going to be talking about legal documents for your website. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Before we get started today, I need to give a shout out to my favorite EMR and practice management software, Jane App, what is also the sponsor of today's show. You might already be familiar with the name, but if it's new to you, Jane is a HIPAA-compliant clinic management software and EMR and the sponsor of Up in My Business. Chasing down patients or clients for important information isn't anyone's idea of a good time, especially when there are forms to be filled out, payments to be processed, and consents to be collected. And that's why Jane has designed user-friendly online intake forms so you can gather all the information you need ahead of the appointment. It really is the best, you guys. Whether that's health history, insurance details, or a credit card on file, super, super important there. Jane will even send a friendly reminder 24 hours prior to a patient's appointment if they haven't completed their intake form yet. This saves you from having to manually follow up on your end. To see Jane in action, head to my show notes to book a personalized demo, or if you're ready to get started, you can use the code LEX1MO at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new Jane account. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I'm Lex, the host of Up in My Business, and I am going to be keeping today's episode relatively quick because we're going to talk about something that I have talked about before on a lot of social media platforms. As far as I say a lot, I mean Instagram. And if you're familiar with my Instagram, you've probably seen me post about this a bunch, but oftentimes audio is always different, if you will, for some people, and it does land differently. So I'm just going to talk through a couple things that I want to make sure you are aware of as far as legal documents for your website. Before we jump in, I do want to just run through personal stuff, and also some business stuff really quick. First and foremost, this week is Thanksgiving week. So Shantae and I are traveling to see her family. Moose will, of course, be with her dog sitter, and Rupee will take care of himself. But we're traveling, going to the East Coast. And I know that people are oftentimes like, make sure or have fun at the airport. It's going to be crazy. Fingers crossed it's not, because last year it actually was not bad at all. So really holding out for the airport not being absolutely insane, but we are traveling. And that's really it. We're playing volleyball. It's pretty cold here. I mean, I say cold. It's not an enjoyable temperature. We'll put it that way. It's simply just cold at 6:30 in the morning when we're playing volleyball. So other than that, I mean, it's been a little rainy, but nothing really else to report as far as personal stuff goes. When it comes to business, I am booking out. So I know if you were to go to my scheduler right now, you're going to see very limited availability. That's where I'm at right now. It's the season. So I had mentioned way back in September that this season is oftentimes really busy. So make sure you book if you are interested in booking so you can get on my schedule. But I am officially booking into mid-February, end of February, and March. So if you book a discovery call now, I will not be getting you in for a done for you service until next February or March. And if you are looking, I know a lot of people are like, I need a website ASAP. If that's what you need, then you can also pay for a Squarespace template that I have. They're done for you as far as like design goes, websites, and then you DIY it, you insert your copy and photos, and you go from there. I'll put a link to them in the show notes. But if you need a website ASAP, I highly suggest you go that route. If you are looking for a do it in a day, typically I do offer a skip the wait list / rush option, but I don't have time for that. I physically do not have time to move people up or open up a spot for you. So just know, like, I am book solid until mid-February, end of February at this point. And if you have a discovery call coming up, or if you're looking to book a discovery call, just know that the done for you services are booked out until February as of right now. With that being said, I think we can just go ahead and jump right into the episode. Like I said, wanted to keep it super short. So let's talk about legal documents and your website. So first and foremost, I always have to say, I am not a lawyer, obviously. I will give people a little bit of coaching around what they need on their website, because I do know what you need on your website because I have a lawyer that I work with. But I'm not a lawyer, so if you need a lawyer or have a lawyer, consult with them. So that's my disclaimer. Just want to go through the things that you should have on your website, or things that are, required or not required. And you can take this advice and either do it and listen or don't. For me, I will always have the things that I mention because it covers my ass. And within PT and what have you in PT school, we always said CYA, and it was cover your ass. So regardless, I'm going to have something in place to cover my ass. With that being said, let's jump into what is required. So first and foremost, here are the things that you should have, or that I typically work with: a privacy policy, a terms and conditions of online sales, terms and conditions for online courses, medical information disclaimer or a HIPAA policy, and then a not medical advice disclaimer. So those are the things that I typically work with and put on client sites. Let's talk about the privacy policy first. That is required by law. So that's a law. You have to have a privacy policy on your website. What it means and what it does is it tells people what you do with the information that you collect about them when they come to your website. And if you're like, I don't collect any information, if you have worked with me in any capacity for SEO stuff, you know that you're collecting information. So even if you don't set something up to collect, you are collecting info about people who come to your website. So that's why a privacy policy is required, because it says, hey, I won't sell your info. I'm not doing anything with this information as far as making money off of it or giving it to someone else that they can make money off of you, blah, blah, blah. And also where you live, who you are, what your demographics are, because a lot of things are being collected when you go to someone's website. Hence why there's a cookie policy that you should also have on your site. So first and foremost, privacy policy. I will tell people that it's legally required. You can decide to put it on your website or not. Personally, I will always have it, and I also won't have a free one. So I have a list of things, a list of people that I trust in the show notes to buy from. And there is a Black Friday sale at the Creative Law Shop right now, and you can stack my discount or my affiliate discount on top of that. Yes, I do make a small fraction of money when you use my code. It goes toward Moose and Rupert's Best Life Fund, and they always say thank you. But you can choose to Google one, but I will also tell you, do not copy other people's. I know that sounds like, of course, or people are like, oh shit, I did that. But you should not be copying and pasting someone else's legal document on their website and then putting it on yours. Because if they bought that from someone, believe it or not, people can actually look for that stuff, and then you can get in trouble. So if you find something on someone else's website and you're like, I'm just going to rip that from their site and put it on mine, just know that that's illegal. You should not be doing that. So buy your own, or if you want to take the risk and get a free one, also you do you. You do you. I personally would not get a free one just because you do not know the credibility of it. So first and foremost, privacy policy required by law. Second is the terms and conditions. It basically just says that this is the relationship that you have with the website visitor, and it gives them a list of rules and regulations of the website. They can't copy things. They can't take your information. They can't use your website as their website. Just a bunch of stuff around it as far as here are the rules for my website when you visit my website. Also, I have that. So I would never not have, like I said, the terms and conditions as well. Third, the terms and conditions of online sales or online courses and sales. Both of them so it's actually technically number 3 and 4. They set the ground rules for people buying things from you on your website. It's a return and refund policy, how they can use the material, login information, sharing information. If you don't want people sharing logins for courses and what have you, that's where you put this information so that it's legally backed on your site and people know what they're signing up for when they sign up for it. It gives them all the information of, this is what I do with your credit card information. This is how it's collected. This is how I pay for this thing. This is how I deliver the material. This is how the material is delivered to you and what you can actually do with that material. Can they copy it? Can they put it elsewhere? So just having terms and conditions of online sales and online courses can then cover your ass for what people actually do with your content that's on your website, your courses, and also how to refund people, how to not refund people, how people pay you. All of that stuff is inside that terms and conditions of online sales and online courses. So if you don't have that, again, it does set the groundwork or the foundation, if you will, for how people are going to interact with you when they're buying stuff from you, which I do think is very important, because if you don't have something written out of what your refund policy is, then technically you don't have one. So someone could ask for a refund however long down the road, which to me feels sort of dangerous. Next, we have the medical information or HIPAA policy or HIPAA disclaimer. What that means is it's simply just saying, according to HIPAA or because of HIPAA, I am following HIPAA rules and regulations and I'm not going to be sharing your medical information. Typically, that's used for clinics or like in-person clinics, in-person health and wellness businesses with licenses. So if you don't have a medical information disclaimer, it can be nice to have one, because then you have a statement saying, I don't take your medical information and disperse it to anyone, which obviously is, a safeguard to say like, I abide by the law. So that is that piece of information. The last one that I'm going to talk about is the medical advice disclaimer. Now, this is great for blogging and just in general, the website content that you have, because it says that this is not medical advice. So all of the stuff that I'm sharing in my blog, all the stuff that I'm putting on my service pages, it's saying that this is not medical advice. So when you're sharing that information, it can be helpful because it doesn't completely absolve you of any liability as far as putting what you put out there. But it does say that if someone's reading your blog post, you have a disclaimer that says, this blog post or the content on my website is not meant to be medical advice. I need you to go get an evaluation or go seek medical attention or what have you, an evaluation, whatever that is. Like I said, I don't know the legal jargon behind it, but it is important to have, in my opinion, if you're writing a blog or writing blog posts, because guess what? If you're sharing information online and you're in the medical profession, it's ideal to, again, cover your ass. So having the medical disclaimer on your website can be super helpful just to give you I'm going to say the calmness that I would say calmness or feeling of calmness, because that means that you're protecting yourself and just saying like, I'm going to write this blog post, and if you take it as medical information, that's not what I said it was. So yeah. Again, just having legal words around the things that you're already doing and covering your ass. So again, just to summarize the whole thing here, I'm not a lawyer, so you can consult with your lawyer, and I highly suggest you do consult with your lawyer. There are resources that I recommend, people that I have and I use. I will make sure I put those in the show notes. Now, lastly, the one thing that I want to make sure I tell you is how to actually display these on your site. So number one, you're going to create different back-end website pages, so hidden website pages that live in the back end of your website for each of these things, for the privacy policy, the terms and conditions of online sales, terms and conditions of the website, HIPAA policy, medical disclaimer. Separate them all into separate pages of your website. So they're just brand new pages, empty pages with just the legal documents. The legal documents are typically sent to you in a Word doc. And then you have to fill them in if you're using a template, or if you have a lawyer, they might give you a document that they filled in for you. You'll highlight the whole thing, you'll copy it, and then you'll paste it into the website. You probably will have to format it a little bit because it's not read completely well when it comes to like actually putting it into the website. So you may need to do a little bit of formatting, but just know that if you have the legal policies on that separate page, now you have to go to your footer, okay? Go to your footer and link to those pages, the new pages from your footer. So you'll say privacy policy and it will link to the page. Terms and conditions, link to the page. Terms and conditions of online sales, link to the page. Terms and conditions of courses, link to the page. You get what I'm saying. So you build that separate back-end page and then link to those pages inside your website footer. And that's how we actually display them on the website. So that way they're on the footer, they're in the footer, they're on every single page. And then it is available if someone wants to look at, but also it's there to, again, CYA. All right, friends, that's all I have for you. I hope you have a lovely holiday if you celebrate Thanksgiving. If you don't, if you're in the US, that is. If you are in Canada or you do not celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a lovely week. I will chat with you next Monday. I'm going to be recording that episode a little bit later this week. I was going to do it today, but definitely not going to be. I will be recording that a little later, and 2 weeks from now, I will catch you up on all things that happened over vacation and all the fun that we had. Yeah, that's all I've got for you. I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening. I will catch you next time.